ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another NSHL live stream. We're live from the Apple Center in Vancouver, British Columbia, where the Lille-Nice Fencers are set to take on the hometown Vancouver Outlaws. I'm DNP, and alongside me is Builder, and we are set to go for this, the last game in the week 10. Before we get to that, though, let's take a rundown of where the standings are looking like currently, as we've got some things that may be of interest next week that we'll talk about after the game. The Indianapolis Motorheads sit atop the Southwest Airlines Conference. They are 7-3-0 for 14 points, taking over the top spot from the Tampa Bay Ilves for the first time this season. The Boston Riptide also get around Tampa Bay. They are 6-3-1 for 13 points, currently tied with the Tampa Bay Ilves, 6-3-1 for 13 points, but Boston has second thanks to an extra regulation win, and that is the tiebreaker that it goes to. Third place belongs to the Tampa Bay Ilves. Fourth place is the Clearwater Threshers, who are 6-4-0 for 12 points, just inside a playoff spot. They're 2 points ahead of the Washington Nationals, who are in fifth, 5-5-0 for 10 points. Then the Vancouver Outlaws, who play tonight and are the last of the teams in that conference to play, are 4-4-1 for 9 points. A win tonight would help them past the Washington Nationals. Seventh place belongs to the New York Liberties, who are 4-5-1 for 9 points. They are tied right now with the Vancouver Outlaws, but Vancouver currently possesses the sixth place spot thanks to points percentage. They have 0.5. New York has 0.45, so the Outlaws are in sixth. Seventh place is the New York Liberties, as I just mentioned, and then running out the league, still in last, but on a 3-game winning streak, are the Detroit Royals, who are now 3-6-1 for 7 points. Then we move over to the other side of the league, where we have the PPG Paints Conference. The Quebec City Bandits sit at the top. They are the only team currently with 18 points from 9 wins and 1 loss, and they are untouchable right now in that first place position. Then we move to the second place spot that belongs to the St. Louis Cyclones after their win tonight. They are 6-3-1 for 13 points. They sit in second. Third place belongs to the New Orleans Wildcats, who are 6-4-0 for 12 points. Then it's the Lille-Nice Fencers here tonight, who are in fourth. They are 5-3-1 for 11 points. The Amsterdam Red Bull sit in fifth. They are 4-5-1 for 9 points, and they are tied with the San Francisco Flight, who are also 4-5-1 for 9 points. The tiebreaker goes to the Amsterdam Red Bull as they are ahead of San Francisco in goal differential. They are -1, while San Francisco is -2 in the points in the goal differential. Then, so Amsterdam Red Bull are 5th, San Francisco Flight are 6th. Then the Copperopolis Crew are in 7th. They are 2-5-3 for 7 points. And surprisingly, they now have won less games than the 8th place team, the Chuo City Dragons, who are 3-7-0 for 6 points. Copperopolis is in 7th because they have gone to overtime more times than any other team. Okay, they've gone to overtime and lost more times than any other team, and since you pick up 1 point for at least making it to overtime and losing, they currently are ahead of the Chua City Dragons despite having one less win. With that out of the way, Bold, what are your thoughts coming into tonight's game?
I find this game quite interesting and intriguing. We saw it on the schedule, and I thought, oh, that'll be an interesting one, especially this far into the season, being cross-conference rivals here. But you just think about the playoff picture and what this game means to both these teams. This time of year, you really can't be dropping points left and right. We've seen Vancouver sort of struggle as of late. They were up in a playoff spot. They've dropped down to that sixth place position. Let me just switch over to the other conference here. There we go. They've dropped from sixth. They were a little further up earlier in the year. They've gone skidding towards the middle point of the season. Now getting towards the end, it's crunch time for the Vancouver Outlaws. 4-4-1 on the year. They need a big win to get them right back in that playoff race. A loss today would be huge because it would mean that they are once again, or they were once tied with the New York Liberties and still behind Washington and Clearwater. Clearwater, again, I was talking to DNP pregame. Very interesting. They're middle of the season as well. Clearwater was up in the top two. They had caught Tampere for first. They're only about a point behind them, and now both Tampere and Clearwater have been skidding towards the beginning of the end of the season. Flip back over to the PPG standings. Lille-Nice not in such a dire problem as Vancouver is. They were kind of to start the year, didn't get off to the right foot, and it started to put the wins together towards the middle of the season. Now coming to the beginning of the end, they're in a prime position for a playoff spot. Now, if they lose, it's not the end of the world. Still 5-3-1 will keep them in fourth place for at least another week. As Amsterdam, let me just check their regulation wins. I believe Lille-Nice would hold. No, it would be Amsterdam. I thought Lille-Nice had the tiebreaker, but it is Amsterdam who holds a tiebreaker there. Not the end of the world, but they definitely need a win.
Well, taking a look back at the Vancouver Outlaws, this is an important one for them to win because if they lose this game tonight, they will actually fall out of sixth place and lose it to the New York Liberties as the tiebreaker right now is points percentage. But if the Outlaws lose tonight, they will be at the same exact points percentage as New York, and so the tiebreaker moves past that to regulation wins. And New York currently has an extra regulation win over the Vancouver Outlaws, so it is of utmost importance for them to win. As you said, Lille-Nice is sitting a little bit more comfortably, but they're not quite comfortable yet, as things that happen next week could bump them out of a playoff spot, as there's two teams behind them gunning for that fourth and final transfer. With that out of the way, let's dim the lights, send things down to ice level as we get things underway. The anthems have been sung, the teams have been introduced, and we're just about ready to go. But let's get a look at the starting goaltenders for tonight's matchup. Number 35, Thatcher Demko, is in the crease for the Vancouver Outlaws, and minding the net of the Lille-Nice Fencers is number 37, Connor Hellebuck. Henrik Sedin and Adrian Kempe are elected to the faceoff dot, and we're underway for the 10th game of the year, and the final 10th game of the year for all teams this week. Vancouver to the puck. They've got along their boards as they bring it into their own zone. White Cloud now trying to take it away for Lille-Nice, and the Outlaws cleared out and down. Goaltender off to the right there, but the Fencers get to it defensively and ensure no trouble. Back for it is John Klingberg. Johnny General Zod. As Brent Burns brings it in for the Fencers. There's John Klingberg. He is on this team, contrary to popular belief. As the Outlaws clear it out and down, JT Miller behind the net. And it's Teemu Selanne trying to get in, poke a stick in there, get it out. But the Outlaws hold the zone. Now they'll clear it themselves, and it comes back into the Outlaws zone. Back to get it is John Klingberg. He's got Henrik Sedin with him. Elias Pettersson to the puck. Sends it out, and now a breakaway. Klingberg turned it away. Behind the net now, Vancouver toward the slot. Cleared out. This one comes all the way down, and it's going to skip wide of Demko's net. Outlaws clear it. To the corner, off the side. Off the back. Cleared to the corner, where it is picked up by Elias Pettersson. Charlie McAvoy there as well. Shot all through the crease, and it does not go. The Fencer tried to feed one from behind, bank it in off the back of Demko, but it did not go. And it ends up out of play for a whistle. Outlaws win the draw and they get it in, but they direct it wide. And the Fencers get it to the line. Now they'll get it. No, they couldn't quite clear. It was held in by Daniel Sedin. Tyler Myers sends to the boards. Elias Pettersson. And now it is cleared out. And out toward his own goal, Quinn Hughes turned it over. And Jason Robertson has it. Or at least battles for it for Lille-Nice. And the Fencers will bring it back to their own zone. And do some regrouping of their own. Klingberg on the forecheck. Lost it. Pierre-Luc Dubois sent it wide of Demko's net. Issa Lindell now behind the cage. They continue to go at it. And Vancouver clears it and sends it down. Takes a bounce to the side of the net. And now it hops over the goaltender, Hellebuck. And a chance the other way for the Fencers. Shot here, ends up wide, reversed back into the slot. Cleared out by Vancouver. Connor Garland to the puck. Cleared the length of the ice. Bounces back, all the way back. Shot there, goes wide through the slot. Hellebuck not even having to make a save there, and it ends up out of play for a whistle. Vancouver sent in, takes the deflection off of Connor Hellebuck, and now Antoine Roussel. Breakaway shot, score! Lille-Nice strikes early!
A beautiful shot by Zach Whitecloud right from the slot. I mean, that's a high danger chance. Vancouver's got to do a better job defending that. And a nice breakout by Lille-Nice. Nice shot by Whitecloud. Beats Demko. It's 1-0 for the French.
It just sneaks 5-hole. Nothing, like, I don't know that Demko even saw it. But it's 1-0, and off the draw, an early response from Vancouver. And it did not go. Connor Helbeck made the save. Fencers work it back. There to get it is Oliver Ekman Larson, who I believe is featured in the scoring race. One of the league leaders. But so far being held outside of his zone. Or being hemmed into his own zone, rather.
OEL has 5 goals on the year, second in NSHL scoring. 4th in points.
And Vancouver with a chance there that did not go. Fencers get it back across the line, and winning the race to the puck is Felipe Myers. Zach Whitecloud, who has the goal, lost it, but it is held in just barely. Fencers send it back to the slot, no one waiting for the centering feed, and the Outlaws clear it out and down. Worked back in, shot there is wide. Robertson laying down. Vancouver gets it in, but they'll pop it out of play, and we get a whistle. 1-0 the score as we come to the first intermission here. Chance there for Vancouver at the end, just wide, and that will do it for period 1 as we go to the break with the score at 1-0 and the shots at 2-1.
Well, a great period overall by the Fencers. I mean, you saw that Vancouver couldn't really get anything going. Couple chances maybe here or there, not even a shot on goal. Really good period by the Fencers overall. You know the coaching staff likes that. You know they want them to replicate that for the second and third period, but don't count the Outlaws out. They've been in tougher jams. They've been here before. I expect the Outlaws to come out swinging.
And here we go for the second period. Teams retake the ice. It'll be JT Miller and Brock Nelson to take this draw as we get back underway. Vancouver sent in just wide. Brock Nelson shovels it out for the Fencers. And then it is cleared into the Outlaws zone wide. Comes back into the Fencers zone for Vancouver through the crease. And no one there to catch the centering pass and bang it home. On the net it is Jalen Ramsey. Brock Besser clearing it for Vancouver. Shot there is wide. Jeff Skinner behind the net. Cleared out by the Fencers. Bounces into the slot where it's picked up by Brian Ross. Shot! Save! The rebound! A second chance! And Demko stopped all of it. And it is cleared. Jeff Skinner for Vancouver. Worked it around. It skips a little too far, and it will be picked up by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who has it in the offensive zone for the Fencers. Held in, just barely, but now it is cleared on the second attempt, and the shot there goes wide. Whitecloud working it around. Palat laying down. Sent back into the offensive zone. Quinn Hughes caught on the net. And Brent Burns clears it. It sneaks underneath the stick of Pierre-Luc Dubois. And Andre Palat is back defensively for Vancouver. Outlaws clear it back, where it'll be picked up by Quinn Hughes. And contested for in the corner. Pierre-Luc Dubois comes away with it. Centers it. And he sent it back toward his goal in a dangerous play that the Fencers are lucky to have survived. Behind the net, Superbman. Riemsdyk coming in. Held in now, it's cleared out and down the length of the ice. Bounces to the slot. Chance there. 2 saves for Thatcher Demko on another grade A scoring chance for the Fencers. Behind the net, it's worked back to the slot. Zod is there, but he gave it away to JVR, James Van Riemsdyk. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins reverses it back into the Fencers' end. Worked around the boards. Now it's Daniel Sedin to it. Carries it back into the neutral zone and then gave it away. Felipe Myers reverses it back into the Fencers zone. Solani is there to ensure no trouble. And it is cleared out. This one comes all the way down. Chance for Adrian Kempe. Just wide. He didn't quite get there in time. Daniel Sedin works it out. And now Quinn Hughes, Vancouver, needs a goal to tie the game. And they've got just over half the game left to do it. Centers to the slot. Shot there goes wide and is cleared back out again. Daniel Sedin to retrieve it for Vancouver. Takes a couple bounces, ends up off the corner to the slot. White Cloud forces it back to the boards and the Fencers clear. And now potential break for Brent Burns. He at least got it across the line but did not continue on the breakaway. And Vancouver clears it. I believe that is up and out of play. 4:32 remains in period 2. Off the draw, Vancouver! Into the slot! They almost score off the draw, but it stays out. And it is cleared again. This time it's JT Miller to it. He lost it. Shot here goes wide. Cleared. Now it comes all the way down, where it is picked up by Pierre-Luc Dubois. To the boards, out to the slot, cleared. Back around it, Pierre-Luc Dubois has it again. Shane Goss-Despair working it around for the Fencers. Press to the boards. Palat reverses it. Work to the side. Out to the point now. And Nugent Hopkins will get it in for the Fencers. Punched back to center ice. Led along by James Van Riemsdyk. And after all that, no score. It's 1-0 for the Fencers as we go to the second intermission. Shots now 9-3 in favor of Lille-Nice.
Well, like I said in last intermission, Lille-Nice's coaching staff was going to ask for another period just like the first, and they gave them something better than that. Although they suffered a couple of shots, none of them beat their goalie, and they got even more shots than Vancouver did. Didn't score on any of them. Score remains 1-0 for Lille-Nice, but a better period out of the Fencers, better period out of the Outlaws too. Not as good as they need to be, though.
We'll see if the Fencers can hold on to this lead, or if Vancouver will find the goal they need to tie it up. Initial chance at the start of the period goes wide. Fencers clear it. That's going to work against them, though. Or not. Fencers hold the zone. Klingberg working it around. Clears it all the way down. Bounces to the slot, Sam Girard, and he gets it out smartly for the Fencers. Jalen Ramsey back. Press to the boards. Zod trying to work it out. They continue to go at it, and now it does clear. Vancouver not quite across the line. Work, shot there, just missed, and cleared. Took a close bounce next to the net of Thatcher Demko, and it bounces back to the stick of Brian Rust. Rasmus Sandin clears it. Shane Gossesbear had it, lost it. Connor Garland now behind the net, worked around. Issa Lindell across the line for the Fencers. They're in their own zone, and they manage to get it out, but it's brought quickly back in. Worked around behind the net. Connor Garland to the point. Bo Horvat there as well. He's got teammates with him. And it bounces out through the slot. Brought along by Girard, feeding it to the slot. No one's there. And that one's going to end up out of play. 12:45 remains for Vancouver to get 1 goal. Outlaws get it in. Takes a bounce out into the slot. Oh, it changed directions in front. And the Fencers survive another one. Outlaws are trying. But is it too late? Felipe Myers missed the net. Back towards the Fencers' goal. Andre Palat. No chance. Cleared out now by Lille-Nice. It is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to the puck. Fed to the slot. And cleared. Bounces around to Brock Besser, who's promptly checked off of the puck. And they continue to contest it in the neutral zone. Now it comes back into Vancouver zone. Felipe Myers for the Fencers. Brock Besser trying to make something happen. Outlaws clear. They're running out of time. Issa Lindell to the boards. Brought out now by Tyler Myers. Shot there, directed wide. Comes back out to Myers. Chance, save made Demko, as the Outlaws and Fencers almost looked like they were working together to score a goal for Lille-Nice. Coach is not going to be too pleased with his players after that play. Shot there off the post! And the Fencers clear into their own zone. Quinn Hughes working it for Vancouver. Cleared out and down the length of the ice. Felipe Myers working it around. Gave it away to Jeff Skinner. Outlaws clear, but they clear it so hard it's out of play for a whistle with just under 4 minutes to go. Bo Horvat wins the draw. Sent just wide. Bounces back toward the slot. Kyle Connor now to the puck. And it's out of play again. 3:11 to go. The Outlaws have been trying all game long to get one off the draw. And they get it in here, but not on goal. And it is rimmed around. Demko's out of his net to play the puck. The Outlaws have pulled their goaltender. Let's see if this works. Cleared, out, down, score! We are tied! It sneaks through Carnella, and 2:04 to go! The game is even!
One of the few times all season we've seen that pulling your goalie has done the trick. It's done just that for Vancouver. Unbelievable. 2:04 left, and all Thatcher Demko had to do was play it to his teammate. They fire it right down, and it beats Hellebuck. The first one all night that has 1-1.
And that's exactly what the Outlaws needed to get back into this one. There's 2:04 to go, though, which is a dangerous amount of time. We've seen goals scored in less. Brock Nelson won the draw. Fencers get it in. Work it back to the slot. Does not go. It is still in the Vancouver zone. Fencers lost it. Gets cleared out and down. Bounces to the slot. No one there to bring it home for Vancouver. And it works its way back into the Outlaw zone. Shot here! Score! 23 seconds left! And the Fencers take the lead back!
Unbelievable sequence here at the end of the third. Vancouver finally answered to tie the game, and Lille-Nice said, no, we are taking this back. We are winning this game in regulation. 23 on the board and 2-1 for the Fencers.
Do the Outlaws have one last laugh? We've seen them score a goal against the Ilves with 9 seconds to go. Shot there, just missed wide, and I think that will do it. And it will. The Fencers take one on the road in Vancouver. But man, what a finish!
Unbelievable finish to this game. The Outlaws finally had gotten it tied up. You thought maybe we'd see overtime, and Lille-Nice said no. Unbelievable end to week number 10. The Fencers come out on top 2-1. It was a really gritty defensive effort for the Fencers. They really weren't allowing that many chances for Vancouver, and the chances that Vancouver did get, they didn't really capitalize on them. Now, the one goal that was scored by Klingberg was actually assisted by Thatcher Demko, which is really interesting. I think that's one of the only goalie points. Actually, that's Demko's second assist of the year, ironically. But what a job by the Fencers. Even though they allowed one late, they fought back and got their lead back.
With that win, I believe that's going to move the Fencers into third place as they move New Orleans back to fourth and on the chopping block. But for Vancouver, they're looking at losing that fifth place spot, that sixth place spot to the New York Liberties as a result of tiebreakers. And it'll be an interesting one, to say the least, next week. Let's take a look at the schedule next week as we go into week 11. Next week is the second to last time that teams will play outside of their conference. And so things will get even more interesting in the week after that, and then in week 13. As we take a look at the upcoming games, the Washington Nationals are going to be in Amsterdam for a game against the Red Bull. That one's important because if the Amsterdam Red Bull win, then the Quebec City Bandits cannot clinch a playoff spot just yet. Then the game right after that is these Vancouver Outlaws playing the Chuo City Dragons. That'll be an interesting one. See if Vancouver can get back after this game. Then the Detroit Royals visit the Copperopolis Crew and look for a fourth win on the year against a team that somehow has won less than them. Then we take a look at the Clearwater Threshers taking on the Lille-Nice Fencers, followed by the New Orleans Wildcats and the Boston Riptide. Then the San Francisco Flight are hosting the Tampa Bay Elvis. And that game is important because if Amsterdam loses to Washington and San Francisco wins against the Elvis, that's another way that Quebec can't clinch a playoff spot. However, if Amsterdam and San Francisco lose, things get more interesting. The New York Liberties and St. Louis Cyclones play the second to last game next week, and then if San Francisco and Amsterdam both lose their games early in the week, then our second string game could be the biggest one of the week. The Quebec City Bandits are in Indianapolis for their 11th game of the year, and should the Quebec City Bandits win that one, they would clinch a playoff spot unless the San Francisco Flight and Amsterdam Red Bull either team wins. So things are getting interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes. Do you have any more thoughts on that, Bill?
No, not really, except for the fact that Week 11 is going to be a very imperative week and could essentially mold what the playoffs are going to look like. These next 2 or 3 weeks are really going to decide who's going to make the Stanley Cup playoffs and who is going to miss.
Well, it'll decide. It may decide we may see the first couple of teams clinch, but things get real interesting down the stretch, as once we get to week 13, it's all games within the divisions. And so even if teams are already locked in, there's still a lot to be decided in the last 4 weeks, as it gets down to crunch time. But with that, I've been Dean P, and alongside me has been Builder. We'll see you next week for the Washington Nationals and the Amsterdam Red Bull for Week 11. And then we'll see you later on in the week for Quebec City Bandits at Indianapolis Motorheads. But until then, thank you so much for tuning in to this one. We hope to see you next time. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.